What's up guys, how you guys doing? This is Ray, and in this video, you guessed it, I'm talking about the Project Mix IO again. I know I made a video, and in that video I stated that I wasn't going to discuss this device anymore, but I'm helping a couple of my subscribers. There's a couple of you guys out there that are having issues with this device. Why not make another video about this? Why not help you guys out? I once had issues with this device and I had to figure things out on my own. So, one of my subscribers, Watchman for All, he emailed me and he had a question about his Project Mix IO. Every time he connected the DC adapter and he powered on the unit, the power brick has a LED on it and it would flash or it would completely shut off. A while ago I made a video on how I damaged the FireWire chip on this device. What I did, I accidentally hooked up the FireWire cable the opposite way. Now as you can see, this has some grooves here and it prevents it, but on the computer side, my FireWire card is so old that these grooves, they don't do anything anymore, so I can put the cable either way. To avoid this from happening again, I marked my FireWire cables. So he thought that he accidentally blew the FireWire chip, and here's the thing. If you mess up this chip, the FireWire chip, which is on this particular board, and you're going to see that in a second, you should still be able to turn on the unit without a problem. There's two boards here. If you ever open the Project Mix IO, you have the board that sits right on the top that has the FireWire chip, that has the SPDIF, and has the world clock. Then right under it you have another board, which is the power/MIDI board. I believe that's what it's called. Now a lot of you guys keep emailing me about finding this particular board, the FireWire board. I am speaking with a contact that may have some in stock, so as soon as I hear anything, I'll let you guys know. But if you can't find that board, the next solution would be get somebody to replace that chip. You can buy the chip online for a couple of dollars. The chip isn't expensive. What might cost you some money is the actual job on replacing the chip. And you actually might find somebody out there to do it for a reasonable price. But once you replace that chip, your unit's going to be brand new. So you don't necessarily have to go replace the whole board. You just need to find somebody that can do that job. If you're good doing stuff like this, then just replace the chip and your unit should be brand new. Another subscriber is telling me that the minute they turn on the Project Mix IO, it just shuts right off. That can be a number of things. Again, I think it has something to do with the power supply board. There's a couple of ways you can test it. In this video, I will be showing you a couple of tools. I shot a video yesterday using my multimeter and an ESR meter that I use to test electronics. So in a second, you're going to see a clip that I shot yesterday. And in this specific clip that you're watching now, you're going to see me, I'm going to touch both probes together and you're going to hear a beep. So basically that's continuity mode. That is something I use a lot to troubleshoot, to find shorts. And what we're going to do, this board right here, this is where you put. So if you take a look at this right here, this is where you plug in your DC adapter. With your multimeter put on continuity mode, you put the positive probe on the positive or negative on the negative. On continuity, you should not hear a beep. Check it out. No beep. That means there isn't any short. So if you did get a beep, that means you have a short somewhere. And you're going to have to find that short. And there's really no easy way to show you guys how to do that. This video will be about 2 hours long if we sit here and test components. So I'm going to show you how to test and identify capacitors. This capacitor here is completely fine. This one isn't. If you go online and you Google how to identify back capacitors, first thing you're going to find, they're going to tell you to look at the top of the capacitor. If it's a dome top, then the capacitor needs replacement. This one is. I don't know if you can see that, but check it out. As you can see, it's really wobbly. This one isn't. Now, for the most part, they're right. But I have tested capacitors like this, and I get the proper values back, meaning the capacitor is still good. Although I wouldn't keep it. If the capacitor is domed, I'll still replace it. I also seen capacitors like this one that look completely fine, and with the ESR meter, it tests bad. You're going to have to pull the capacitor out, test it depending on the type of meter you have. If you have an ESR meter, you can test on board. The next tool that we're going to be speaking about, it's an ESR meter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find the capacitors and I am going to test them right on the board. As you can see, it's showing me the ohms. Each capacitor has different values. So what I would do, I would go find out who made the capacitor, find the data sheet for that capacitor, and it should tell you the value. It should tell you what the ESR value should be. Then you look at the value that the meter is giving you, and you compare it to that. The meter has a chart, and that specific chart is a reference chart. You can use that too. But if you want to be really accurate, you have to get that data sheet. This meter is a little over $100, so if you are going to use this meter once, it's not worth it. There are other alternatives out there, $25, $30. I'm going to show you one right now that's basically similar to the ESR meter. Difference is you can't test components in circuit. You have to take them off. And that's not a bad thing. Even with the ESR meter that I just showed you, sometimes if capacitors are in parallel, you still want to take them out just to make sure. Sometimes you'll get a different reading when capacitors are in parallel. So you just pull the capacitor out. It's not going to hurt, and test it anyway. Now the next meter we're looking at, it's a mega tester. It's between $25 to $30. And if it fits in this meter, you can test it. You can test diodes, resistors, and so on with this specific meter. So going back to Watchman for All's problem, what I would recommend when you open your projectmix IO, take out this board completely, isolate it, make sure it's not connected to anything else, and plug in the AC adapter. Make sure you're wearing some gloves or something. There's not enough voltage in here to kill you. It's what, 9 to 12 volts, so I wouldn't even worry about that. But static electricity can mess up components, so it's very important that you're not working on a rug or anything like that. They normally sell these wristbands that you would hook up to ground or something like that to prevent that from happening. But if not, always touch the unit first. Make sure you don't have any static charge. Once you do that, you remove this board, keep this one by itself, and turn it on and see if the power supply does the same thing. If the DC adapter starts to flash or the light disappears, then you definitely know the problem's here. Now, if it doesn't and you hook up this board, you're going to have to test both boards. Like I said before, the firewire chip goes, your unit should still be able to turn on. You should still be able to put it in Vegas mode. The only thing is you're not going to have connectivity with the computer. You're going to hear pops and clicks in your speakers. That's it. So I really hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions, post in the bottom. Thumbs up. First time watching one of my videos, see that subscribe button, click that. And I'm out of here. Later, guys.